That we will do our best if we don't resolve all of the problems tonight, and that's entirely possible, to make sure that we get them sorted out for tomorrow. So here we go on the clean and jerk, and the first man to get underway. This is Vitaly Gerbanov for Belarus, the European champion. And on the bar, David, for this first clean and jerk lift.
Well, he's posted at 142, but I think he's in, I mean, we don't have any graphics, but and it's not a brilliant picture, but it looks as if he's got 140, so he's come down. So one wonders if perhaps he's decided after the snatch that he's perhaps not having the kind of day that he would have liked, and that it would be better to just get a first attempt in. Oh, no. Now we're getting a closer look. No, he has actually come in at what he posted. So 142 for him, which puts him on 264, which I believe is 4 kilos less than he did at the European Championships.
268 was his total, his winning total.
Yes, of course, won the Europeans, but this is a very different field.
Well, I can see his tactic, David. I think what he's trying to do is to, again, as he did in the snatch phase, get one in early, secure the total, and then just see how things go. And you know, the way this competition has gone, you know, there's still that possibility that he might just grab a bronze medal somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he snatched 122, so he's only 1 kilo behind the third place.
121 actually.
120.
Oh no, he did get
122, didn't he?
What did he not get? Was it 122 or 124 on that third attempt of his?
Well, he missed the second on 122.
122. You're absolutely right.
Then he achieved it. So he's not a million miles away. I mean, he's a kilo behind the bronze medalist, and they've got fairly similar clean and jerk. So perhaps he's just going to get one in to take the pressure off of himself, and then maybe sit and just wait and see what he needs to challenge for a medal. So, not a very interesting shot. We need to get in a bit closer. And again, can't tell exactly what's on the bar. They've got these new smaller discs that they just slide on the outside, which makes the weight change a lot quicker.
Yeah, it works very well. And that's a good clean and jerk. So a good start.
It looks like 143. And it is 143. So that's around about 315 pounds. Remember, these men weighing in at 8 stone 11. So tiny men, big weights. Weightlifting, of course, not just about physical strength. It's about speed, the ability to exert a large amount of force in a very, very short period of time.
And the lifters are not actually sitting in a cave. It's just a very dark part of the warm-up room. And you can see the spectators there just find themselves, humidity up, and
I think they perhaps need to, as well as moving the platform forward and dimming the lights, they perhaps need to turn the air conditioning on as well.
Yes.
And of course that can be a factor with a lot of the athletes that are not used to extreme temperatures. Especially these guys who have probably dehydrated a fair amount to make the weight, and desperately been trying to rehydrate themselves between the weigh-in and the competition, and they're probably trying to maintain that in this very warm hall.
Yeah, it's humid, and again, one of the factors in preparing for this World Championships would have been acclimatization, which would come into being.
Well, it shouldn't be necessary because these places should have air conditioning, so it should make no difference at all.
They have. The doors are open.
Well, the bar is on 145 kilos. That much I know. 2 reds on each side and a green. The reds, of course, weighing 25 kilos each. The greens weighing 10. Collars 2.5 and the bar 20. 320 pounds for those of you that still like to know the weight in old money. And he wasn't very happy with that.
Unfortunately, we'd like to, we're trying to persuade them to shoot the Eleiko one-line board, which you can just see on the right-hand side. If they actually did that before and after, that would help you and all of us as well. But unfortunately, that piece of intelligence doesn't seem to have reached the command centre of the television production. So once again, I do apologise. This is a Eurosport problem which our colleagues are trying to sort out, but it may well be that it'll be tomorrow before we get it up to the necessary standard. A lot of Koreans, they'll be disappointed, David. Lee Yong-hoon, only 120 kilos from the snatch phase. He's going to have to really put it in the second phase if he wants to move up, but not impossible.
Not impossible, because he's much stronger in the second half of the competition, the clean and jerk. So all is not lost. He's got his fan club there.
There seems to be some extraordinary length. Well, he's following himself, isn't he? 2 minutes.
No, it's a different guy.
Well, no. Well.
No, you're absolutely right, he is. But the guy we were looking at is obviously coming out next.
So this is one of the 2 Indonesians.
So that's better.
Yadi Setiadi, the 21-year-old.
Yeah, so that's better. Failed it with his first, but was successful with his second.
It's a 145 and I'm sorry to labour the point here for everybody, David, but one of the things that makes this sport such a great sport is the drama and the televisual drama that you get out of the competition, but we're not actually getting it today. And this is the scene in the warm-up room.
Yes, and just seeing those 2 guys together, giving people a bit of an idea of the how small these men really are.
Yeah. Well, that's why Mutlu was nicknamed Pocket Hercules, because he really is that tiny. Now, Jerbanov, I think, coming out for... Is it Jerbanov?
Jerbanov, yeah. European champion.
Yeah, he's 30 years of age, so he, together with the defending champion Wang, are the 2 oldest in the class, but 30's fine. He'll make it to Beijing, but probably not to London 2012.
And that's 146 kilos. Which it is. So doing okay so far.
It's like 268?
268.
Yeah, so
I
that's...
believe equals what he did at the... actually won him the European Championship. So it just shows you how different this field is, how much stronger they are.
Well, he's important because he is the European barometer. you know, everybody who's not here from Europe, you know, will be looking at Durbanov and trying to relate their own performances to his. Or just the one lift left. And I think I might be inclined to strangle the Oscar before the week's out. Lee Yong-hoon of Korea.
Now, he was posted at 150. Remember, he had that awful start in the competition, failing twice with 120 kilos, and then managing to succeed on his third. So not having a good day and opting to come in at 147 kilos instead of the
well, he didn't stand still for me, and that's a no lift. That surely is a no lift, because those feet weren't still, they weren't in line. You have a look at this, David. I don't think he finishes this off correctly. Now, we haven't got any
unfortunately we can't see the lights.
No.
So.
And of course they're not showing us what we want to see either. Now we might get it off this one here, but you've really got to see the whole torso here.
Well, the question is, did he stand still?
Well, I don't think he did.
With his feet in line.
Well, I don't think he did.
It doesn't look like it. I mean, he's still moving while he put the weight down. So not having a good day. Dropped it from 150 to 147, and still can't manage it. So really not his day today.
Oh well, now we've got some more information.
Well, it looks as if he's following himself, because the clock's come up. Obviously 1 minute to do the lift, unless of course you're following yourself, in which case you get 2 minutes, which means that by a process of elimination, it's the Korean back on again.
Yeah, that could change. He could put the weight up.
I think you need to be Sherlock Holmes to follow this this competition without the graphics, and they're just giving you sort of tiny little pieces of information, and you've got to sort of work it out. Can you see that board, David?
No. I really do apologise on behalf of Eurosport for this. We will do our best to make sure that the rest of the week is up to the required standard, because this is indeed very, very poor. Nonetheless, let's not detract from the sporting aspect of it. Li Zheng, 3 good lifts, David. 128 kilos, leads the field comfortably. Didn't have to go to 131 to equal his junior world record to take the gold. And it'll be interesting. I think, you know, if he lifts another 3 lifts, goes 6 out of 6, he's got to be the champion.
Well,
this is the Moldavian.
Very close.
This is Igor Bur, 21 years of age, coming out for his first attempt.
Yes, he's increased his opener from 145 to 148 kilos.
Not the... Well, he's strong overhead. Now he's got to stand still.
Yeah, it's not the...
Well, it wasn't textbook.
No, not that he's a strong man, but he's not good technically. And to be a world champion in weightlifting, I'm afraid you need both.
That said, he does actually, you know, get that score in. It wasn't pretty. But maybe not pretty will be good enough. Now, where does that take him, David? Well, we had him on what we have
118.
118
and 148. So 266.
Yeah, Alvarez now on 148.
So he's also put his opener up 2 kilos. Remember, this is the man who's in the bronze medal position after the snatch. So he's either had a very good warm-up, or he's decided to try and crank up the pressure. But of course, when you do that, you put the pressure on yourself as well. Oh, very strong. Very good on the clean. Oh, well, upped it a couple of kilos, and that was, for my money, that's the most impressive clean and jerking we've seen here today. And this man's dangerous.
So 123 plus 148 takes him to 271.
Yep.
271. So he's now, with 2 clean and jerk attempts to come, only a kilo below his entered total.
And this was a very, very good clean and jerk. Good technique, plenty of speed, plenty of strength.
Stop talking, please. Thank you again.
Well, here comes the Korean. Bar's gone up.
Yes, decided to buy himself some time.
Still 148?
Still 148. Yes, remember he failed on he posted 150, came out at 147, failed it, decided to buy himself some time by going to 148. So not having a good day. So far, out of 4 lifts, he's managed 1 snatch.
Yeah, this for a total of 268, and that's better. Why did he do it the first time? Perfectly capable, but he's
just not focused today.
No, and you know, the silver, 280 last year in Qatar, and that was only the silver medal, and here he is at 268. So he's 12 kilos away from what he delivered in Qatar. So this is not a good competition.
No, he was on fire last year. So Durbanov,
148.
148. So this would take him to 270. It would put him past his European total.
Yeah,
I think he did 268 there, didn't he?
He did, yes, but as I said earlier on, he's in past years he's done 275, 277 and a half.
Not going to get that. No. So stays on the 268. And I really don't think that that's going to be good enough for a medal in this field. And I think to be perfectly honest, he knows that.
It shouldn't be.
No.
Mind you, we've still got the Moldavian for the Europeans. This is a category which has really, in terms of entries, been dominated by the Asians. No less than 7 of the 10 lifting out there are from Asia. Of course, the Europeans will come more into their own as the weight categories increase.
I think the problem with this man is he does most competitions, and he's getting older now. I think as you get older, you need to pick and choose your competitions, and he's at that sort of stage where it's very easy to start picking up little niggly injuries unless you sort of pace yourself a bit more.
It is one of the unique factors really about weightlifting is, and this, and maybe can explain it a bit, David, how you can only really lift to max once or perhaps twice in a year.
Well, there's lots of different factors. I mean, one of the main factors is that you have to most people, to get the best out of themselves, have to train overweight and then make weight, and really dropping sort of 3 to 5 kilos twice a year is enough for anybody.
Well, that's more like it. That was a confident jerk overhead.
Yes, Navarre on 149 kilos. For the
I think Indonesian.
Yes.
And if that's
no, actually.
Pardon? If that's Satyardi, which I think it is. It's an interesting lift because he is light.
Yes, actually, he was posted at 147. Yes, it's him, and he actually decided to come in at 149.
and he's light, 54 kilos 41, so the lightest of the class. Now here's Igor Bohr with 150 kilos on the bar, and that's a much better clean. First one was really scrappy. I thought he'd get that. So 150 kilos, and he's obviously much happier in this division of the competition.
Yes, 150 kilos, 330 pounds, puts him on 270, and as you quite rightly say, the lightest, sorry, not him, the one before was the lightest man in the competition at the 54.41, and of course there are individual medals in this. There's a medal for the snatch, a medal for the clean and jerk, and of course the overall, so both lifts are very important.
Defending champion has got to go to work here. Really has to go to work if he wants to, well, frankly, even get a medal, an overall medal. And that looked reasonably hard. Now, how strong is he in this phase? That was better.
Yes, but again, come down on his starting weight from 153
to 150
to 151.
151.
Which it's interesting, because a lot of these athletes are coming down on their starting weights, and it makes you wonder why. Is it the heat? What's the? And we've seen a lot of failures in this class.
I think also there's just confidence has just been sort of dissipating amongst so many of them, and also you adjust to the circumstance. Third attempt at 151 kilos to the light man, and couldn't quite do that. So
that's the Indonesian. Yeah, he missed 145. Then he got 145. But I think, and it was and it was tough. And I think now he's gone for 151. I think it was. I think that was a big ask. So he finishes on 145 clean and jerk. And I don't think he's going to be too far down to be in the medals.
Now we've still got, of course, Huang An Thong, the Vietnamese, Li Zheng, and also Wu Meijin. Now,
well, this is Wu Meijin, and of course, if you remember, he had that disaster in the snatch phase, failing 3 times on 122.5 kilos. But as we said earlier, there are medals for the snatch, jerk and the total, so it's well worth him carrying on in the clean and jerk, because in theory he could still win a gold medal. So 152, so that puts him
in the lead.
Into the lead on the clean and jerk. Of course, won't feature in the total, but I think a gold medal on the clean and jerk would be a nice little consolation prize, and might put a smile back on his coach's face.
Yeah, 148. I mean, he was Olympic Games clean and jerk, 165 kilos. Gonna have to go some.
They don't seem to be on top of their game at the moment, do they?
Well, I just wonder, you know, again, David, in the big build-up towards Beijing, you know, whether, you know, next year's World Championships, which are traditionally the primary opportunity to qualify, whether that's going to be the real one to watch. And Li Zheng here, 152 kilos, but he's made that look hard on the clean.
Yes, this is the leader on the snatch, did 128, and in all kinds of problems on the clean and jerk. Was posted originally at the weigh-in on 155, has dropped to 152 kilos. See, the thing I can't understand about this competition is, if it was 1 or 2, then you think, okay, they're having a bad day. It isn't 1 or 2. It's everybody's coming down on what they've posted.
What does that suggest to you?
Well, there's a factor that is affecting all of them. Whether or not it's the fact that the hall isn't air conditioned, whether it's the fact that the audience are so far away and there's a lack of atmosphere, or whether it's a combination of several other factors as well, I don't know.
Now, this is interesting. He wasn't quite the boy last year in the clean and jerk, but in the space of another year, 152. And there's no doubt that he's got the self-belief. Now, he didn't get that third snatch.
That gives him the lead.
Exactly.
Gives him the lead. 276 and 2 attempts left.
And he could reach 280. 280 was what his entered total was, so, you know, he's...
Well, Li Jiang was posted at, did 128 in the snatch, so 4 kilos ahead in the snatch, but heavier than Hong.
Yep.
So we've got a close battle here, and of course don't forget the other Chinaman is still in the battle for the clean and jerk.
Yeah, and Hong again, I mean, same generation. He's only 21 years of age, very good junior as well. So, you know, clearly this Vietnamese lifter is a bit special, and now I think he's probably frightening them.
We're certainly putting the pressure on.
But the other thing why he's putting that frightening them is because when he's coming out on stage, there's an air of, you know, conviction. He's clear in his mind about what he wants to achieve. He's positive. Okay, he had the one failure. He was annoyed with himself, but he's on fire. He's ready for today. This is what it's about. And now Li Jiang really has to reply. Now this is the man who is actually first in the world rankings coming into this competition with a total of 286.
Looks heavy, David. Looks heavy. I've experienced cleans like that myself, and to jerk it after that, well, he's done well. He's got a lift on the board, but he's got to hope, I think, that is going to be enough to win. He's going to have to hope that 280 is going to be enough to hold the rest of the field off. And I'll tell you what, David, I wouldn't be surprised if that Cuban sneaks in. I mean, of all the clean and jerks that we've seen, that clean and jerk of 148 kilos from Sergio Alvarez was very impressive. He didn't look under pressure whatsoever, so I wouldn't be surprised if he sort of gives us a few causes a few problems for these men.
Now that in terms of the Vietnamese, Huang, he now needs to pick up another 4 kilos. If he picks up another 4 kilos, then he forces Li Jiang, you know, to go. I mean, what would you do if you were the Viet? You've got to go straight for the 4 kilos, haven't you?
Yes, but of course Li Jiang has got to decide what he's going to take. Is he going to go to 150? I mean, this is where the clever decision making from the coaches comes in, and the chess game that we talk about.
And also in the clean and jerk phase, remember Wu Meijin, the other Chinese lifter, on 152 kilos. So, you know, he can play his part in terms of the medals in this particular division of the championship. So a lot of support. Now this is the important lift, I think, David, isn't it? Well, here's the Cuban, and
this is the Cuban. Now he looked very good on his first attempt. He's gone 153, so he's thinking about the clean and jerk medal first, which I guess is sensible.
5 kilo increase.
5 kilo increase. Now he looked great with 148, so I can't really see this giving him any trouble. And of course he's got another attempt left to try and improve his position.
This will take him to 275.
276.
Sorry.
Look at the power in the legs. It's unbelievable. Easily the strongest man in this class. Oh. Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So he could actually steal the competition, you know.
Well, this is interesting. This is the man who, in the world rankings coming into the championship, 274, 14 kilos below Li Zheng. But at the moment, some smart money.
Well, let's look at where he is. He's actually, he snatched 5 kilos less than Li Zheng. So
he's now only a kilo ahead in the clean and jerk, and they've both got one left.
I think if I was him, I think I'd be sitting around and waiting to see what I need to take the title, because he doesn't look pushed on that clean and jerk. He looks as if there's loads more left in him.
Yeah, he's also got to factor in the Vietnamese lifter as well. Now this is the Moldavian who, well, looked very wobbly. Second clean and jerk was much better than the first, and that was a 148. Sorry, a 150.
No, that doesn't have the legs. But you can see the difference in strength between these guys and the Cuban. The Cuban just jumped up out of the 153 kilos. Yes, so Sergio Oliveira's already got a 276. He was only posted at 272 and still has a lift to come.
Well, there's some men in the back who've got to make some very, very key decisions. Now, this is where your coaching team comes in, because they have got to be your eyes, because you can't be looking everywhere. You've got to be focusing on your preparation, what you want to do, and they've got to be actually assessing the look and the performance of your opposition and knowing how to play the cards. You have 6 cards to play in the Weightlifting World Championship, 3 in the snatch phase, 3 in the clean and jerk, and you've got to make them count. You could call it high stakes poker, because winning a world title is something that can, in certain countries, bring you quite a lot of wealth and comfort. Now,
yes, this is the strong man with not such a good technique.
No.
And I think technique letting him down there.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to get a little bit of reaction from some of these guys after this competition. I'll see their feelings, but now Li Zheng, pretty important this, 154.
Yeah, so deciding to put the pressure on.
Now this is his last attempt. So what would this give him? This would give him 278, 282?
282. Yes, so it would mean that the Cuban would have to do 160 kilos to beat him if he succeeds with this, but he hasn't succeeded with it, so he's left the door open. Stays on 280. So our Cuban friend now needs to do another 4 kilos on top of what he has already got. So
and Huang, you've got to factor him in.
Well, you've got to factor him in. You've got to factor him in, yeah, of course. But
280 for me is the current leader.
This will be a big disappointment. These two Chinese lifters, they were expected to launch the team off to a terrific start, and it's not been a vintage performance here by any means. Junior world champion, and okay, sometimes perhaps we expect a little too much too early, but now the defending champion. Now his first lift was
151, but he was unsuccessful.
So 150.
So he's decided to jump to 155 after a failure at 151. So he's
playing the high stakes, and this will take him to 276 if he can get it.
He's had a disappointing snatch phase.
I still think this is quite a big ask, but that was certainly better than the first clean. No, it's not there, is it? It really isn't there.
Well, I think this competition maybe Li Zheng has done enough to hold on with that 280, but I'm sure that the Cuban and the man from Vietnam are really going to be pushing now for that gold medal, and both of them, in my opinion, are capable of taking it. Although I think if I was a betting man, I'd probably be putting my money on the Cuban, who just looks to be so much stronger.
Well, Wang won it with 281 from Lee Yong-hoon last year, 280, and Hong Antoine of Vietnam, 279, Wu Meijin, 278. It was very close and competitive. Now, this is interesting. This, of course, is only for the clean and jerk. Second attempt, 152. The first attempt was good.
Yeah, so this would actually now put him into the lead on the clean and jerk. But as we've said, can't make a total.
Well, the scoreboard, if they showed it to you, would display an awful lot of red. Far too many failures. And there are going to be a lot of men, not least the coaches of these teams, are going to look at these results, David, and they're going to re-examine their thinking, really, because there are an awful lot of people who've misread the whole situation out there today.
Well, if you'd said at the beginning of the competition that a Cuban bantamweight would have had a chance of going for the overall title, I'd never have believed you.
Now, one of the few to impress. Well, spoke too soon, didn't I? He's all right, I think.
Failure on 155. Now, if he's going to... Well, this actually doesn't... this just puts him into sort of second place, doesn't it?
276 he's on, isn't he?
Well, it keeps him in second place, really.
Well, he's on 276. The Cuban's on 276, but he is lighter.
Yes. So the Cuban actually needs 158 to take the title, because I don't see this man, the Vietnamese, doing any more than 155. But still going for clean and jerk medal.
Well, Lee Yong-joon, remember, he had 120 and he got 148, so he's on 268. So 148, this is quite a big increase. This is 7 kilos up.
Yes, to put him on 275.
Yeah, but it is his last lift.
And in the lead on the clean and jerk.
Yeah, if he gets it.
So it's a big ask, really. But this is a good clean. Can he hold it together? Yes, he does. Well, that's impressive.
Well, once again, it's the third attempt, isn't it? I mean, you know, it was the third attempt in the snatch which kept him in the competition. 275, and now, you know, he's having a little ballistic moment, because maybe he's going to get himself on the medal podium, but in the clean and jerk phase, because 275 is not good enough for an overall medal. This is I still think that's a very disappointing afternoon's work, really, from him. When you look at, you know, sort of, it's only, what is it, only 3 out of 6, 50%.
Yeah, it's just a shame that he hadn't managed to just get one more snatch in at 125, because he'd have actually been challenging for gold. He's done well, though. He started off badly, and to come back from that and still get a good clean and jerk out and put yourself back into the lead. I mean, it shows some guts, doesn't it, and some determination.
Yes,
because some people would just be finished by the fact that they had a disaster in the first phase.
Yeah. So the consolation prize to, 155. Nobody else has picked that up, but Sergio.
There's the danger man.
Yeah.
158, I think, will give him the title. And I think he's going to wait and he's going to take it. Well, this man running out of time. Yeah. Never a good way. Never a good way. So,
well, that is a complete mess up by the coaches.
Big question now then. Does the Cuban take enough for the silver medal? Or does he go the whole hog and take the 1:58 that he needs to take the gold medal.
There are times in your life when you have an opportunity, and I think this is one of them. So do we have a dispute on our hands here?
Well, is he suggesting?
No, I think it's the Cuban. It's the Cuban. No, it's the Cuban now.
Taking 1:56. So he's going for the
silver.
For the silver medal, isn't he? Because this only puts him on 2:79. So it's for giving the silver medal, which would be and the gold in the clean and jerk.
What was his second clean and jerk though?
1:53.
And this is 1:56.
1:56. So it's put him in silver medal position.
2:79.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he was heavy, you see, so he would have had to take another 2 kilos to put him on 281. So it looks like China have held on to it, but you see, he looks so strong. Yeah, another attempt.
I'm thinking, bronze, silver. Why not go for it? How many chances do you have in your life to go for it? You see, now he's going to kick himself, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is going to kick himself.
Silver medal. Another 2 kilos would have given him gold.
Nobody was going to take the bronze medal away from him. I don't understand that. On the evidence of what we've just seen there, David, why has he not gone for, that little bit extra?
Well, the strange thing is, he didn't even need to take 56 for the silver.
And just looking at the technique there, the split was very good. It was really, really well balanced.
Definitely the strongest man in the competition. Unfortunately, there's no more cards left to play.
Wu Meijing now. This is consolation prize time. Now he weighed in at 55.32.
Yeah, so if he succeeds with this, it will actually give him the gold on the clean and jerk. So important lift.
So funnily enough, the Chinese...
Well, it would be gold all the way for China if he does this, because they've got the snatch to total, and this would be the clean and jerk. So they'd have shared it between 2 of them, but they will have all the golds if he succeeds with this.
But not a vintage performance.
No,
and he hasn't got it. Well, the 1:55 clean was pretty hard. Well, the phrase that comes to mind, David, is it can only get better, please God. Both in terms of the lifting and also in terms of the television production. But it's good to see the weightlifting World Championships in this part of the world. It's a long time since they've had here, but another attempt.
This could change everything.
Where's he going for? 160?
Well, he's gone for 160. That will put him on 281. So this is last year's world champion with 1 lift left. The last lift of the competition with 160 kilos, and if he does it, he'll win it.
He won't do it. He will not do this. If he does this, I'll be totally... No, he was never going to do that. On the evidence that we've seen, there was no way he was going to do that. I mean, he's done what the Vietnamese guys should have done. Or the Cubans, sorry. The Cuban should have done.
Well, the Cuban only needed 159.
Yeah. I think for me, that's the disappointment of the evening, ultimately, that the Cuban didn't have a crack at it.
I think he'd have done it.
Because, how many times do you have that chance to become a world champion? You can only beat the people who are there. You can only deal with the circumstances that are in front of you. And so I think that's what I call a get-out-of-jail night for China, because Li Zheng, junior world champion, and only 20 years of age. He's now the senior world champion. But if he wants to be Olympic champion, he's going to have to find a lot more in the next 2 years.